Viewers, and welcome to yet another exciting edition of your all-favorite weekend educative program, Family Life, on Adoatv. My name is Obahima Efe. And Nkwesi Adadu say, now say abonondu mienu penache say Obahima majimigwa aware mu sem ene eba be pensem mu ewo ahanum say. But before we go straight to the topic for today and then also introduce my guest here, we want to say a very big thank you to our sponsors, Adoatv Roofing and Cookwares, for your quality and affordable roofing sheets, being it single room, 3-bedroom, self-contained, any kind of building beer. Just get in touch with them. They'll give you quality and affordable roofing sheets. And Sansuna Oba Okwa Warimu, and that's Warimu. And you need a very nice and quality cookwares. Just get in touch with Adoatv Cookwares and they'll give you quality at affordable prices. We also say thank you to Spiffy Clothing for your quality printswears and embroidery papebino. Just get in touch with them. You can get them through Facebook on all social media platform, and then you'll be sorted out as soon as possible. We also say thank you to Sonatech Medical and Diagnostic Center for also supporting Family Life. This month is a month of breast cancer. Imano ewo hono. Edru October penu who say edru mrea ye beka na say ye pese oba bia hwe ne nofo mu nsem say nofo no ete sen onye say bia ebo wanim na che say bibia ye okay wo. You need to also check to see if there are anything wrong or something inside that needs to be corrected. Stay tuned. We're going for a quick 10. When we come back, the show continues. My name is Obahima Efe.
Hello everyone, my name is Sanaya Boa, the founder of TNU Fitness, which is a lifestyle change movement for women. As part of our vision to empower women to take charge over their health and wellness, we are super excited to partner with Sonatech Medical and Diagnostic Center in their fight against breast cancer. Every 15 seconds, a woman somewhere in the world is being diagnosed of breast cancer. Breast cancer is still the leading cause of death in women worldwide. According to World Health Organization, the treatment of breast cancer is most effective when it's detected early. Let's take action. Get screened today. Encourage another woman to get screened for free between the 1st of October to the 31st of October. You can also enjoy a 20% off all mammogram and a whooping 50% off all breast ultrasound in any of the branches of Sonatech. You can visit their West Hill Mall branch, their Tema branch, and their Osu branch. Let's join in this fight against breast cancer, because it is our hope that one day no woman will die because of breast cancer. Thank you.
Yeni Masatek, so your kunini roofing industry nim, enti, Saudi roofina, now what Asatek. Asatek will quality long span roofing sheeter, a sign nail free. Trase, a here, so did a dwabomu, now so a team would down the soa. Pampe, Frama, and a whom and to me. Asatek quality long span roofing sheets with beautiful bright colors with anti-fading and anti-rusting properties. Trase, every nache name panso, enti warmer 30-year warranty. Terms and conditions apply. Asatek quality long span roofing sheet dear. Ayama debia, say a warehouse, school, hotel, hospital, sorry, and now say a wawufi. Use Asatek quality nail free long span roofing sheet to be. Now what done to be jinaso, na yino. Your delivery services papa bia and found wonderful kwa Asatek Bema was can order between 3 and 5 working days. Our VIP delivery services so one day pay na Osaka. Prepare Asatek a chill kwai Watama 22 Meridian Road when you go board warehouse na paying Takrade if you kuma number 9 what pay if you kuma Fidelity Bank no voter region so or Wakache Tatome JN Bank and Chen Hope Asatek sheltering you for life.
Ago, good people of Ghana. Here are some safety measures on prevention of coronavirus. 1. Cover your mouth with tissue when you cough or sneeze. Dispose of tissue into a bin immediately you cough into it and wash your hands with soap and running water. Avoid shaking hands and use sanitizers as often as you can. Signs and symptoms of coronavirus include fever, cough, sneezing, and difficulty in breathing. Should you experience any of these, or for more inquiries, please contact 0558 439 868. That's 0558 439 868. Or call 0509 497 700. That's 0509 497 700.
Remember to always wash your hands with soap and running water.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, and partners.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 05092 57754 020 9494 258 or visit our marketing desk at Stepwork Premises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Yeni Masatek, so your kunini roofing industry nim, enti, Saudi roofina, now what Asatek. Asatek will quality long span roofing sheeter, a sign nail free. Trase, a here, so did a dwabomu, now so a team would down the soa. Pampe, Frama, and a whom and to me. Asatek quality long span roofing sheets with beautiful bright colors with anti-fading and anti-rusting properties. Trase, every nache name panso, enti warmer 30-year warranty. Terms and conditions apply. Asatek quality long span roofing sheet dear. Ayama debia, say a warehouse, school, hotel, hospital, sorry, and now say a wawufi. Use Asatek quality nail free long span roofing sheet to be. Now what done to be jinaso na yino. Your delivery services papa bia and found wonderful kwa Asatek Bema was can order between 3 and 5 working days. Our VIP delivery services so one day pay na Osaka. Prepare Asatek a chill kwai Watama 22 Meridian Road when you go board warehouse na paying Takrade if you kuma number 9 what pay if you kuma Fidelity Bank no voter region so or Wakache Tatome JN Bank and Chen Hope Asatek sheltering you for life.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yeah.
It be old cargo.
Can I join you guys?
Always drink fresh, natural eggs, mineral water.
You still got it.
Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome back, viewers, from the break. It's still your show, Family Life, on Adoatv, and my name is Obahima Efe. I'm Missy Kwesiada Du. Now it's a bonon du. Mienu. Na majimi gwa. Na ya warrior monsem. And ya babe pensem. As you are preparing to enter into marriage, or you're already in marriage, there are certain things or some mistakes maybe you might have done, but you need to correct it, and then life still goes on. That is what we talk about when it comes to family life. And Nejumedi no of last week. Last week we were talking about dealing with incest in the family, and I said our remu. Today is a part 2 or a continuation of that. And with me here in the studio, Eyemian Kasame Papam. Maybe I consider anything, especially I could be on the new makeup and I started smiling. So we welcome the mathematician and was I and who scientist, Reverend Pakabenin Akwaba.
Yeah.
How is the family too?
Grace has kept us.
Today this caller day.
When it's time for communion, you can't dodge it.
Oh, it is well. Okay, so we also have Pastor Shadrach Che, my fighting partner. On the DBI
On them kosa.
Enyemia. Patro Akwaba.
Me does mean ya. Na pomu ti say.
Yamiadum. Bibia boko. Ekwekrim.
Me bon pa yasin to kwabiansa ma biom.
Amen. It's yet another Sunday again.
Yes.
And we say thank you for handling today's program or today's edition. Okay, so Reverend, last week we were talking about dealing with incest, and then we got to know certain things about it. Now to ask you, what's your mind when it comes to incest?
Incest, first of all, is a state, and secondly, is a word for crime. It's a state in the sense that when family members of the same lineage tree engage in sex, they can be in relationship. As long as there is no sex, we can't put a finger to it to call it incest.
Okay.
When they engage in sex, then it's incest. And then it's crime. It's crime based on the geographical location, because if you go to Spain, it's not a crime. If you go to some part of Europe, it's not crime. But here in Africa and some part of the world, it's a crime. So it's a state and it's a crime.
Okay.
Based on where you find yourself and based on the action in a relationship pertaining to your family line, then it's an incest.
Okay. So in Ghana here is an offense.
It's an offense.
Do we have any criminal law backing it?
Yeah, there's a criminal law backing it.
Okay.
It's liable to 3 years imprisonment.
Okay.
If you are caught and proven, you're going straight to jail.
Yeah, so if you don't know, you just go and read the criminal offense, I think article 1960, that's article 29 or so, clause 1 and 2 talks about, it gives a breakdown of what it actually is. It says if a male that's 16 years and above involve themselves with the female that they know as their siblings or relatives is an offense. Likewise, the female too.
Exactly.
Okay, so in this case, as some parts of the world know is accepting, Pastor Shadrach, a very right say, you marry your brother's wife when he's no more, he has passed away.
Marrying your, let's say your brother's wife,
yes,
when he's no more. That's a tradition. If the tradition accepts that, but in biblical, on biblical grounds, that shouldn't be, and that shouldn't be. But I believe if let's say those people love themselves and their tradition accepts it, just like how Reverend said, there are certain things that are bound by cultures. Some cultures may accept it, others may frown on it. But I believe we are here to also speak based on Bible, based on what Bible says is right or it's not right.
Yeah.
So I believe if your brother's wife, your brother is deceased, and the wife is given to you to marry, I believe there will still be that kind of blood related. You are still blood related with your brother. So if it happens like that, you are still committing an act that is outside the will of God for our lives. But I want to, even with that, I would like to also seek some clarification on the earlier submission of a reverend concerning what we can classify as an incest and that which cannot be considered as an incest. Per the definition and the submission of Rev said that activities that does not, let's say, necessarily sexual activities wouldn't be classified as incest. And for purpose of clarity, Jesus Christ also taught us how, even when we look at people with lust, and how how we can still, how some acts can be classified as immoral act on the basis of scripture, when you don't necessarily need to penetrate to be called a sexual immorality. So I believe that if, let's say, you are dating a blood related person, you know very well that this is my sister, my cousin, someone you are related with, and you are having an intimate relationship, not necessarily having sex, you are dating. All those acts could be, that is from my point of view. And if Reverend can also throw more light on how he said it's not so, so that we can also
clear our minds on that.
On
but
that.
Just to also add a little, I was talking about the article 1960. That gives a clear clarification on what an incest is. From the criminal law, it says male or female 16 years and above, the moment you engage in sex with someone you know that he or she is a
Blood
relative
related.
So
is an
that
offense.
is the criminal part of it.
Yes, that's the criminal.
But when you are talking about incest, there are so many things that comes into mind. Not necessarily only the criminal aspect of it. We can also look at the sinful act of it.
Yeah.
Some acts may not be considered criminal, but they are sinful. Some acts may be considered not criminal, but they are sinful. Anytime it is sinful, I believe it has an adverse effect on people who commit such acts.
Yeah.
So I said that on the basis of how Jesus narrated how when we look at people with lust, not
Yeah,
just
I really understand you, but I think we took, or I'm taking it from the criminal side.
Yes.
But you are coming from the biblical side, and definitely Rev is also part of the biblical, so he will also have to tell us something about it. So,
Okay.
Rev, it boils back to you.
Sure. You see, we're talking about he came from the point of Jesus saying, if you look after a woman and you lust, you've already committed adultery. So then, if I'm relating with my blood-related sister and I lust after her, is it an incest or not? Now, the reason why Bible makes it emphatic of incest is when penetration comes in, is because there are other things that happens, and I don't want to jump the gun because I'm sure you'll be asked some questions, and I'll come in with some medical conditions, which is very serious. And if you go into the Bible, God looked at that one and then separated it. Somebody will also ask, okay, those who started the world, all right, how come we heard of Adam?
yes,
What's his name? Eve.
yes,
What's their name? The two boys, Seth and what's their name? The two sons of Adam, Cain and Abel.
Cain.
All
where
right,
they got
their wives from.
Yes.
If you read chapter 5 of Genesis, you would get to know that these three other Seth had also gone to another place to settle. All right, and then if you read the Bible, you might think that it's only how do you call it, a 3 days thing, but it was years. So Seth had left the family, and Cain had left. And when they have gone round, they came back. And if you read chapter 5 very carefully, you see that they came to set at a place where the people already existed. And that was the descendant of Seth. So they got married to themselves again.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So that answered the questions, where do they get their wives from? Yes. All right. Now, after the flood, all right, this thing happened again. Yes. And then suddenly, God broke that seal and decided to let them marry differently.
Okay.
Because you will get to know why it happened so. But the answer is, when there is no actual sex, we may call it virtual sex, which is a person lusting for a person. It's sinful, but it doesn't get you to the place where you have committed the incest. When you move into the act, then you are connecting blood to blood. All right? Soul to soul. That is where you are mixing that which God had already mixed.
Okay.
And you are making something different from what God has made. So then God frowns on it. The act is sinful, the thought is sinful. But if I were born in UK and I was born to the royal family, UK royal family, and this is a known factor, you can go and Google, they believe in pure blood. So they married among themselves. And there was a sickness found among them known as hemophilia. And hemophilia became so rampant until they break in stopping the family from marrying among themselves. That sickness went on. You would ask, why? And if I want to answer it now, I will be drinking the soup from the fufu. So you go ahead, we'll continue.
Okay, so Reverend, in this case, would you support as the question I asked Pastor Enyon?
That question, the only thing is this. If only the husband or the husband who died is a relative to the wife, they themselves had committed incest already. And adding this one is from pan to fire.
Okay, so in this case, they are not any
If they're not
relatives.
siblings, then it's a culture.
Okay.
All right. And they were not related. Okay. So he can marry, and it's not incest.
He can marry.
Yeah.
Hey, barefoot. Yeah,
No.
foot lie.
No. Watch this. A marries B.
Mm-hmm.
They are not related. No incest. Then A dies, and C is a brother to A. So he comes back to marry B. All right. There's no. It's like what do you call it? A plant. All right. That is uprooted and planted the same plant. It is that you are looking at the children out of the birth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not incest. It is when these two children, because the two children now become step.
Okay.
When these two children move into relationship leading to sex, then they commit an incest.
Okay, so
Rev,
don't you
Rev,
think the children,
yes,
it will have effect on them?
In the future? There are times, just as I said, certain cultures may accept certain practices as okay, but there are times God also look at it in the future how they may have effect on generations. Looking at even what we are saying, if in the future the man also have children out of that, they may have some rivalry and other kind of difficulties.
As for sibling rivalry is everywhere. You will have the same father, the same mother with the same children, and the children would have rivalry among themselves, depending on how they are raised and how the parents are able to bond them together. One of them, if they go their separate ways in schools, one thing is better than the other. One thing, this one is preferred than the other, and that sparks sibling rivalry. But if you are talking about incest, it is the mixing of the blood. All right. Look at the sickness like sickle cell.
With the
incest,
yeah,
I still believe it doesn't necessarily be just having the sex, because because in the sight of God, once it is known that even some kind of sexual immoralities could be committed without penetrating. So any act, any form of sexual relationship, if let's say you are intimate with the individual, not necessarily having sex, it could still be classified. It could still be viewed as an incest. Not just. Let
me just don't go far.
Okay, right.
We have to separate the sin of immorality from the sin of incest. If I lust after my blood-related sister, it is immoral. If I have sex with my blood-related sister, it's incest. I have moved from immoral to incest.
But once what God considers immoral,
you see, if you were born in Afghanistan,
okay,
you would have been a Muslim by now. All right. The culture in which you grow molds your conscience, and mind you, the gospel fits in culture.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You don't bring your culture into the gospel. The gospel fits in culture.
Yes.
So the culture in which you grow, if the culture says that my senior brother's wife is dead, my senior brother is dead, so I have to succeed my senior brother. That's the culture. God does not frown on it. And if I find myself in Spain or in Britain, where they believe that I can marry my sister You talk about the Bible. Until it comes to me to accept that that's what the Bible says, I will still be indulging in it. You understand me? So, in the context of their culture, it's not a sin. It is in your belief in the Bible that tells you it's a sin. All right? Yes. And until you bring it to them in teaching, they don't know, and God will not hold it responsible. I hope you understand. So it is only when the people had come to accept and believe these practices are sinful, then God hold them. Bible says, in the days of old, God wait. In other words, God ignored. But now that we know, every sin shall be judged. And I like the statement. Bible says that when we know our sins and confess, he says he's faithful
and
just. We don't understand that scripture. The word faithful there means that he's committed in doing what he has to do. And the just means he will judge.
Okay.
What does the Chief Justice do?
He judges.
He judge. So if you do the right thing, he will judge. The good thing, he will judge. The bad thing, he will judge. Anything you do, he's faithful and he's committed in judging and measuring to you according to what you have done. So what exempts us from his justice is the blood that was shed by Christ, and we accept him. If you don't accept it, he will judge you. If you accept it, he will judge it based on the blood that was shed. Then we are free.
Okay.
But if you don't accept it, then he will judge it based on your action. Then you are condemned.
Okay. Okay. Deep insights. I believe you are out there and then you are taking notes. And you say you kasake there be. There are deep things, you know, because we look at culture, tradition, and into but we are here to teach. Into in some be why so then you need to still take it up. So I want us to look at the types of incest, like the father-daughter relationship, mother-son, and then the siblings. Okay, so what would attract father to his daughter?
Okay, so thank you. As I said last week, if in a marriage settings, there is no, if the wife prevents the husband from sex, if there's no pleasurable sex in a marriage, that could also lead the husband from having an extramarital affair, either with the daughter or anyone closer. So, but as I said, Bible enjoins that marriage, sex is pleasurable in marriage. So marital couple are supposed to have sex, good one of course.
Okay.
So in a situation where one is prevented from having sex with the other, it could lead him or her from having a marital affair with a close related person.
The daughter.
And there are cases like that.
Okay.
There are cases like that where the husband have an affair with the daughter because the wife is preventing him from having sex like that. So if we want to curb practices like that, then we have to make sure if you are married, you have to make sure you satisfy your husband or your wife in bed, so that we wouldn't have instances like that. And also outside marriage, if the sibling are also living in the same room, if they are living in the same room, they are grown up, and they are still living in the same room, they see each other's nakedness and stuff like that, it could also generate some kind of sexual feelings or desires for each other, which might result into this act of incest. So you have to make sure that once your children are growing up, you have to get separate rooms for them. Maybe boys would be, if they don't even have the opportunity of having individual rooms, you can have the boys having their own rooms and the ladies also having their own rooms to curb all those temptations that might lead to this incest. And there are also some which are spiritual. There are also spiritual causes where some families are going through activities to prevent. There are some spirits that rise up against marriages. they rise up against marriages, and they could pass through this act of incest to sometimes break your confidence, you know, bring you down from even going ahead to even marrying. Once you have sex with a sibling, you go through a lot. There are times, because of the stigma alone, you might not even have the desire to go outside to even propose to someone or even engage in marriage. So there are times people go through this act of incest, which is spiritual.
Okay.
Which is spiritual.
Okay.
And
Okay.
God is also able to free people from such spiritual causes as well.
Reverend, do you agree to that?
Yeah, to a large extent. The spiritual aspect, Jesus made a statement and said, the prince of this world came to me, and he has nothing of his in me. So let me illustrate this with sand and iron filings.
Okay.
If I mix a sand with iron filings, and I have a magnet, and I wave the magnet on top of the mixture, what will happen?
The iron filings
the iron filings will jump to be attracted to the metal, the magnet.
The magnet is
good. Why? Because the iron filings have the molecules of ions. All right,
Scientists.
That would be that will be attracted to the magnet, but the sand won't. In the same vein, Jesus said, or the Bible says in the book of Revelation, that when Jesus appears in the sky, we, the believers, will be caught up. So it's either you have the Spirit of God or the spirit of the devil. So that if the devil has anything of his in you and he comes around, he gets you. If Christ has something in you, and he comes around, he gets you. So on the spiritual side, what makes the spiritual so pronounced is when people avail themselves to materials that activate.
Okay.
So watching of pornography, speaking guile, and talking about evil things, speaking to people. And you know how these guys, Charlie, I miss you, Charlie. And then they'll ask you, are you lying alone? Are you wearing panty? What color? And all this thing quickly send your mind to things. Yeah. What are you doing? You are gradually making your body an element for the spirit of lust to consume. So then, it becomes spiritual. But we also have to think of the academical side, where parents ought to reason, to want to know the framework of their children, want to find out what tickles them, the sensitive part of the children. They ought to be taught. Don't tell your child or your male child, this is called bolo bolo. No. And please excuse me if your child is watching. Will you excuse the children? I want to use some word. Teach them, the male child, this is called penis. The female child, this is called vagina. Tell them what it is used for. Tell them how do they feel if they see the opposite sex. At the age of 9, try to find out how your children are responding to the opposite sex. There you get to know what is happening to their body. Then you will teach them. If you don't teach them, the world will teach them. Otherwise, watching TV, I keep saying one of the evil in our present age is unsupervised television. And the movies we watch, almost every 20 minutes, averagely, there's a sex scene or a kiss. So the kids are not taught, but they learn. So there is nowhere to go. He has his sister at home. Watch TV. He is harassed. Mommy is gone to work or gone to the market or washing outside. Calls the younger sister or other sister. Kiss. It begins from there. Immorality has set in. If there is nobody at home, incest will take place. And there's been countless stories of people that are of the same blood that out of no supervision will engage in sex. And sometimes it's cousins. Sometimes it's siblings. Sometimes it's mother and father and daughter. And this is where it's not only when the husband is is not having sex with the wife or the wife is denying. Sometimes the husband is watching pornography and is having an insatiable desire that makes him always want to have it. As soon as it clicks on his imagination of what he has seen, he's aroused. And then he turns it on to his children. There are so many causes. Sometimes it is because he's belonging to a society, family friends, or close friends that always speaks vulgar. And always, sometimes it's masturbation that leads to those things. Sometimes it's watching. So it's not one thing, but the key to keep this thing is strict supervision. 2, make sure that the kids are always having something positive to do.
Okay.
Because it is said an idle mind is the workshop for the devil. So when the child is doing nothing and is watching television or is playing outside and watch, lately it is not only men and women. Incest can also happen with men and men when a brother of the same father, the same mother is penetrating behind the brother. Because they've been watching and maybe in the family they are only boys. And then it happens. So what are they seeing? What is prevailing on their mind? What is provoking them? How far are they lasting? These are the questions we need to find answers to curb it.
Okay.
But it is not. Incest should not be in our society.
Okay.
And let me also add this. Sometimes people engage in this incest out of ignorance. Out of ignorance. You know, the reason why I am not okay with just an ordinary relationship with a sibling or a cousin is that, you know, just recently I received a call from a lady, and it was you know, after also teaching on some of these practices, and she said, Pastor, I didn't know. Some years back, I dated a cousin, and we lived like that, and no, some way somehow. So something happened, and they had sex, and they had sex, and she said she believed it is because of that act that has resulted in many disappointments, promise and fails in her life. She's having a difficulty in marrying and stuff like that. So I'm still coming to the point where we shouldn't even entertain any kind of relationship with any kind of intimate relationship with a blood related a sibling, an aunt, a cousin, or anything like that. And some of them get into activities like that because of ignorance. They don't know that such practices isn't good for their lives, and it might have an adverse effect on their lives. Okay. So there are some people who are ignorant about practices like that as not good and sinful also in the sight of God.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let me quickly ask a question. In your earlier submission, you said at a point in time, parents need to get a separate room for their children. That is male in one side and then the female. But in the economy, in this modern Ghana,
there are all prices we have to pay. There are all prices we have to pay to see to it that the right thing is done.
Okay.
If that is what you have to, I think we have to. It is better to do that than to just allow them to do things that will have an adverse effect on their lives in the future.
Okay.
So we have to do. It's also part of our responsibilities as parents. If you know, sleeping together has been a cause of someone's incestuous act, then we have to also make sure that. That's why I said, even if it is possible, we are supposed to even get everyone in their room. But if it's not possible, you have to make sure at least the male are in one room, the female are also in one room.
But if you cannot afford, maybe there are certain measures.
They also, yes. So
yeah,
just
but,
as we have said,
mm-hmm.
education is key. You have to sit them down,
Yeah.
educate them, let them know some practices that are not good,
Mm-hmm.
like the incest. That maybe this is your sister. You cannot have sex with him or her. This is your brother, your sister. You cannot have sex with him or her. You cannot do any kind of sexual activity with him or her.
Okay.
Because of this and that, because of these reasons and that. You know, there are times in educating our children, we try to just create fears in them that, there are times we just tell them, don't do this with no reason. Maybe don't kiss your sister, don't have sex with your sister with no reason.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times they don't see the need to not do it, so they will go ahead and do it. So it's better we sit them down, let them know the consequences of such actions if we disobey and go ahead with that. So in a situation where maybe parents cannot afford having separate room for their children, I believe very well that we can also educate them and guide them. As we have said, we have to straight supervision.
Okay.
To make sure that even in that state they could still be protected from such harms. And above all, we have to still cry unto our Father, ask for protection for them. We pray for them that God will also release them and save them from such temptations. Because temptations, we are always we always find ourselves in temptations every now and then. But we believe that one of the ways we also come out from temptation is through prayer. So as we pray for our kids, I believe that God will also use that medium to also save them and deliver them from this activity.
Okay. Reverend, would it be right or wrong for a female to be dressing up, especially from the bathroom? You come and your kids are in the room and then you're naked in front of them. Is that right? Or
I call it indiscipline.
okay.
Yeah, you see, familiarity said breeds contempt. And the kids are growing, they are developing. So even if you don't have a separate room, when I was growing, my mom had a partition. The same room, the bedroom was there's a partition, and then we had one chair. And when she goes to the bathroom, when she's going to the bathroom, she will tell everybody, get out. So she returns from the bathroom and she's finished before we come in.
Okay.
All right. And when it's at night, she comes from church and it's at night and she wants to bath. She will take her things to the bathroom, dress, and come straight to bed. All right. So it's indiscipline, thinking that, oh, these are my kids, so no big deal. No, it's a big deal. Because the kids are growing, they're exploring. All right. And what they are seeing, when a man sees the nakedness of a woman, no matter who he is, it sends signals. So you don't even want to expose your child to that sin. All right. Now let me tell you something very serious about this incest thing. I started with the sickle cell.
Yeah, I will come to the medical things.
All right. So now, if you are a woman or a father, you are not supposed to expose your nakedness. The person who is supposed to expose nakedness is your husband and your wife. Period.
Okay.
For any reason, the next person to see your nakedness is a medical doctor on a condition of sickness.
Yeah.
Otherwise, not even your mother who gave birth to you should see your nakedness. All right. So nakedness is meant for marriage, and possibly maybe the third time for your nakedness is when you are dead and they are bathing for you. So 3 possible areas where you're supposed to expose your nakedness. Aside that, conceal.
Okay.
All right. Because what the child is seeing, children like to explore. Okay, I saw my mommy's things. Hey, yeah, come. I saw my mommy's thing. Come and let me see.
Yeah.
And ignorantly, once he touched Akosia, then it leads to something else.
Yes.
Unplanned for. So don't even let them see.
Okay.
And if for any reason accidentally they see, find ways to educate them, to curb it and tell them, this is not supposed to be seen. And I've told my children, I opened the Bible, Genesis chapter 9. I said, it is a curse for a child to see his parents' nakedness, period.
I can't eat him.
Yes. So my kids, they won't even come to my room unless I ask them to come. All right? And if they know I'm asleep, I'm asleep. Let it sound in their ears. It is a curse to see your parents' nakedness. Not only the physical nakedness. If you get to know of daddy's secret, mommy's secret, and you tell it out, it's a curse. And I've told them. All right? So you educate the children, and then you also try to tell them of the development inside them. Then the mechanism of feelings.
Okay.
Let them know. Let them know that this feeling is a particular season of life. If you begin to use it now, you are into trouble. What is the trouble? You are either going to give birth early, or you can't even finish your education, and you will never have money, you'll be begging. Tell them. Let them know what it is, and try to bring them away from it. And if there is any family member, especially, these days, your brother will say, Charlie, my job, so take care of my child for me. And then they come to live with you. Don't joke. And don't take things for granted. First of all, sit the child down, get to know what the child knows. Because when you are away, what he or she knows, he will tell you to your children. And the person could be a strong influence. And if you are not careful, you introduce the child to them as their cousin. They embrace the child as their cousin. So they are now open to the child as their cousin. But you are not at home. You are not there to see what they are doing. And it can break into anything. So when the child comes home as a cousin, after introduction, tell them, this area is a no-go area. She's a girl, you are a boy. You cannot marry this girl. You cannot have sex with this girl. Two of you cannot sleep together. You sleep here, and from today, this is where you're sleeping. And make sure the child stays there. Supervise. One of the things that is killing Africans is lack of supervision. We don't supervise anything. So you see a nice edifice built today, give it 2 years. We will run it down. Because we work in there, but we don't mind. You will see people, something will be here, it can stay there for one month and nobody will care. All right? But if we have strict supervision and you are careful of whatever is going on, you won't be told, you will know. Because in the book of Genesis chapter 9, Bible says, when Noah woke up and knew, we don't know what Bible, how the Bible wrote it though, whether the brothers told him or he got to know. He was in charge. He knew that what his younger son had done. All right? So you have to get to know of whatever is going on in your jurisdiction. Because God gave it to you to have dominion. And you're responsible for it.
Okay. So viewers, we're going for a quick time. We'll be right back.
Hey, what up, beautiful people? My name is Camilo, aka Mr. Grind on Stop, aka Meet Up on the Team. And as you guys already know, I always partner with Sonotech Diagnostic Center to bring you guys a free screening every October, free breast screening. And this year we go again live from the 1st of October to the 31st of October. We're going to be giving you guys free breast screening, so we can prevent breast cancer in our people. Now listen, this is the best part. If need be that you undergo a mammogram, we're going to give you 20% discount off the original price. And if need be that you undergo an ultrasound, we're giving you 50% off the original price. And you know you will not find this anywhere. So make sure from the 1st of October to the 31st of October, you make your way to all our centers in Tema, Osu, and West Hills Mall, Sonotech Diagnostic Center, and come get your breast screened. We don't want to see no breast cancer in our people. You already know. Peace and love. Mido say so. Boomba.
Yeni Masatek, so your kunini or roofing industry nim, enti, Saudi roofina, now what Asatek. Asatek will quality long span roofing sheeter, a nail free. Tresse, and here so did a dwabomu, now so a team would down so. Pampe and frama and a home and to me Asatek quality long span roofing sheets with beautiful bright colors with anti-fading and anti-rusting properties. Tresse, every nache name panso, enti warmer 30-year warranty. Terms and conditions apply. Asatek quality long span roofing sheet dear. Eyama debia, say a warehouse, school, hotel, hospital, sorry, and now say a wawufi. Use Asatek quality nail free long span roofing sheet to be. Now what dando be jinaso na yinho. Your delivery services papa bia and for wonderful kwa Asatek Bema was can order between 3 and 5 working days. Our VIP delivery services so one day pet na wasaka. Asatek a chill kwai Watama 22 Meridian Road when you board warehouse na paying Takrade if you kuma number 9 what pay if you kuma Fidelity Bank no voter region so or wakache tatome GN Bank and Chen Hope. Asatek sheltering you for life.
Back viewers from the break. It's still your show Family Life on Adoatv, and my name is Obahima Efe. In the studio is still my father's Reverend Pakabenin and then Pastor Shadrach Che. So today we are talking about a part 2 of last week's edition that's dealing with incest in the family. Now we are going to look at the effects that it has on us when it comes to incest. So, Reverend, effects in VAD? Plenty. Last week we had some.
Wow.
So we'll have another.
Let me start with even animals. If you are a type that breeds, what do you call it, dogs, you realize that if a dog gives birth, and the son or the male of the dog meets the mother, and the mother gives birth, most of the times, all the kids die. Have you asked yourself why?
Never.
There is something we call inbreeding in biology. Inbreeding is, forgive. Inbreeding is when, and inbreeding is always found in incest.
Okay.
So a brother marries a sister, and there's a particular genetic sickness, disease. That's what I was trying to use sickle cell.
The sickle cell.
There is something we called homozygote. It takes one strand from the man, that of the woman, and join together. So we have SS. When incest graduates into childbirth, the kids never are strong. They are constantly weak. 2, a disease found in the family runs down to the family. And no amount of prayer. We can call all the big men and all the bishops of Anglican worldwide and all the bishops in the charismatic worldwide. We can pick a barrel of olive oil. We send it to Independence Square. We will dip you in and they will pray. It will not break it because it becomes genetic.
Okay.
You are breeding the thing from within. And so the children born out of that particular, relationship will carry that sickness till death. And sometimes, unfortunately for the African priest, or let me say pastors, because we also don't learn. When a mother comes to tell me, my firstborn died, secondborn died, thirdborn died, we say spirit. We don't investigate to find out what is the cause. And the children would die just like that. Back in the UK, when they had money, they had the money, but they still didn't live long. All right. Again, aside the fact that it has health implications, it's wealth draining. Because you're giving birth to children that are going to be sickling throughout their lives. And the little money you get, you invest into their health. Not just that. You will carry guilt on your head.
Okay.
Because you have married your sister. Or even if there's no marriage and there's sex, you have guilt. And no amount of...
But that becomes a problem when you know about it. You know it was a relative or a sibling. Okay.
So if you are born in the African culture settings where it is not accepted, it's a guilt. And let me tell you what, sin is heavy, but guilt is heavier. Yeah. Because you may be out of the act of sin, but when you recall what you have done and the implications, it weighs you down. Most people are down not because of the sin they've committed, but the aftermath of the sin. So the guilt is holding them down. All right. Now, aside these sicknesses, it narrows down the scope of your psychological framework. Because the weakness does not only work on the body, it works on the mind.
Okay.
So you don't become smart. And you'll be in school, they will teach your IQ is low. And such children try their best, but they can't climb higher. If it's not sickness, it's psychology, a psychological breakdown. Otherwise, it's emotional draining.
Okay.
I know of a couple, okay, they were not a couple, they nearly became a couple. When the guy got to know that this is my auntie's daughter. The gentleman, in fact, it was the lady that brought the gentleman home. And upon investigation, realized that, that's my elder sister's son. What happened was that a man gave birth with this young lady and ran away. And then, for the sake of wiping away shame, they took this young boy and gave to a priest. So she lived her life and gave birth again. Then when this guy grew, the guy came home, but he was still with the priest.
Okay.
Then met this cousin, and they were together. They have done whatever they want to do. They now wanted to bring it home. And they realized that this is your brother. You cannot marry. And they had gotten involved to the extent that they can't break. It was emotionally torturing. because they have had their plans. They had tried to buy everything because she was saying that she didn't want the parents to know, because anybody she brings home and check now marriage relationship breaking. So this one, she was hiding it to nurture it to a point where she can now bring it home. And when she brought it home, it was fire. So breaking up was draining, emotional. She grew lean. And when she got to know of what they have done,
The guilt alone.
my advice would be, don't try it.
Reverend, please hold on.
Okay.
So our phone lines are open. You can also call to share your comments, your suggestions, or your questions, and we'll also help you out. Reverend, please.
My advice would be, don't try it. And so if somebody asks, okay, I'm a product of.
We'll come to the stigma. We'll come to the stigma. Do you want to add something?
Yes,
Pastor?
so there's also the stigma attached to
We'll
children.
come to the stigma.
Okay. Then also incest. There's also depression. People who are into this incestuous acts suffer depression.
Yeah.
They're always depressed, like that, because of such acts. All these are reasons why it is important we run away from this activity
The
of
act,
incest.
yeah.
And also it could also lead to murder. It could also lead to murder. There are many people who have committed suicide as a result of engaging in this incestuous act. Sometimes still with the stigma. People look down on them. They don't think that what they did was right, and because of that they commit suicide. And there are times people find themselves in activities like that, and children comes out of that, and because of how people look at them, the stigma and stuff like that, they go ahead and commit suicide. And we want to also let our viewers know, if probably you are a product of.
Please hold on. We have a caller.
All right.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Mommy.
Good afternoon.
Thanks a lot for your educative program.
Welcome.
Yeah. I just want to add my voice. You had a question of why some fathers are attracted to their daughters.
Yeah.
And I think one of the causes is from the way the children, the girls, carry themselves.
Okay.
It's also part. Their way of dressing, the way they hug the father, and so a father who is not able to control himself will definitely fall for such a child.
Okay.
That's the number one. Two, in our Ghanaian society, most of the time we see our mothers, most of our mothers go to the bath with their children, the son.
Yeah.
And then instead of bathing the child for him to come out first, they bath together. So this boy is able to see the nakedness of the mother,
okay,
which is not healthy enough. So if you go with the child, then first bath for the child, let the child go, leave before you undress to bath. So our mothers also need education.
Okay, okay.
Then finally, we talk about these children, exploration. Explore, they want to explore. If they are not educated, they explore. We have an instance in our area where a neighbor traveled, both mother and father. Okay. And then these children, I think 13 and 11, in the care of a next door neighbor. Now, in the evening, they told the neighbor they wanted to go out for picture. Then later she realized there was light in their room. Came back, the boy undressed and was asking the sister, you see, let us compare and contrast. So the girl was finding it difficult to. They said, you have seen my nakedness. Remove yours and let me also see your nakedness. These are some of the things. So as Reverend rightly said, the children need to be educated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Thanks for calling.
And also, even as he's advising that the kids should also know how to dress, I also think that the wives should also know how to dress well. There are times some wives also dress shabbily. They don't dress well to attract their husbands. So if you are not doing so, but that doesn't also mean if you are a husband, if your wife isn't dressing well and your kid is dressing well, you have to be moved by that. So
but I think it's a very key point because sorry I no pa oba wife for na what into my boom na onam kwan ho. I mean, would you feel if you call next house? Yeah, no. I think we have a caller. We have a caller. Let's finish. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, madam.
Please, your name.
Please, my name is Eddie. I'm calling from Kumasi.
Okay, Eddie, please go ahead.
Please, thank you. I want to thank you for a very important education program that you are giving to us. But please, I wanted to know the actual meaning of the insect.
Okay.
The insect, is it with the connection with all your relatives?
Okay. So we'll answer that.
But please, again, if it is in relation with our relatives, in this world, we the human beings, are we not related to each other from the beginning? Because it seems we are all from one line. If I could say that, because we are all created by God. Do you get me?
Yes.
It was through Adam that we also came to the world. So I'm a bit confused. Are we not, in other words, related to each other?
Okay.
If you can let it.
Okay. Reverend will answer that for you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling, Reverend.
Yeah, I understand his frustration. It is, you see, I earlier on made a submission that when God started the human race, that was how it happened. But mind you, Eve was not a brother of Adam. That's the first thing you should understand. Then we see in chapter 5, it's not a Bible studies I would have opened for you to see, when Seth has gone to settle, and it's a span of years. So you can't say that it was just 1 year, 1 hour. All right. And all those people were wiped out at the flood of Noah. All right. God began again. But if you check the Bible very carefully, God was looking for a tree.
Okay.
So you even see that Isaac, let me come from Abraham. It was after Abraham that God decided that he wouldn't go by the tree again. God will now pick people from different places. Because then man had disappointed God. So God said, and Bible said, and God repented. And since God repented, he stopped from the lineage he was going and began to pick people. All right. So that's where the spread of the so-called incest was cut off.
Okay.
All right. Then we have to follow. God himself made it emphatically in Leviticus that it was a curse. You cannot marry your blood. So the question of the meaning of blood relation, of incest, is when you have sex with a blood-related family member.
Okay.
And in Leviticus
so we have a caller. Hello. Hello, Sadiq.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello, Sadiq. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, Madam Producer. Please check the phone line thing. Okay, so you wanted
so
to...
in Leviticus 18, Bible tries to specify categorically people that we cannot uncover their nakedness or even have a sexual affair with.
Okay.
In Leviticus 18:7, Bible tells us that the nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother, you shall not uncover. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness. And it says, the nakedness of your father's wife shall thou not uncover. It is your father's nakedness. Bible goes ahead and says, the nakedness of your sister, the daughter of your father, the daughter of your mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad. and even the nakedness you shall not uncover. The nakedness of your son's daughter or thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness you shall not uncover. The nakedness of your father's wife's daughter.
Okay. Please hold on. We have a caller. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, madam. How are you?
I'm fine. And you?
I'm pretty fine.
Okay. Please, your name.
My name is Johnson from Tamale.
Okay. How is Tamale?
Yeah, Tamale is fine.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
I want to ask the pastor how Eve was created.
Okay.
Eve was created from the Eve from Adam. That's Adam himself. And Adam turned around and had sex with Eve. So that's where the incest started.
Okay.
You can't have sex with yourself because Adam and Eve was part of Adam's Eve.
Okay.
He was part of Adam's Eve. So there's from Adam. So how do you turn around and have sex with her again? That's the proper incest in the world.
Okay.
Do you hear?
Yes, please.
How can you have sex with yourself? How can you have sex with your own rib? So let the person answer for me and I'll see.
Okay.
So,
thanks for calling.
So Bible never said God created Adam or Eve out of sex. Bible never says
He's
so.
trying to say that
yes, in the sense that
Eve was
in the
created
sense
from
the rib, and Bible never said through that rib,
No, I understand where he's coming from. He says that if Eve came out of Adam, then definitely there should be some link there. And so why should you have sex with something that came out of you? I understand him. But you see, unfortunately, we were not there when God created. And God is wiser than anyone on earth. If the two of them were a pair, that would have generated into homozygote. God would never have allowed. Otherwise, we would have seen Cain and Abel and Seth having sickness and diseases that they would have transferred onto others. Excuse me. What Bible is emphatically clear. And I try as much as I can not to even bring Bible into these discussions because we are dealing not only with Christians.
Yeah.
Of course, we have majority as Christians, but other people are listening as well. Yeah. Because they also might quote their whatever, secret writing. But the thing is this. God is the one who created. And he's the one who is saying we shouldn't. He's also the one who started the beginning. And he won't put two odd things together.
Okay.
If he knows that this will breed something that will not be good, because he had pronounced a decree over them, a mandate, be fruitful and multiply. And that mandate warranted that no weak thing should come out. All right? And the same God who created the animals in twos. Okay? So would you also say that those animals were brothers? All right? Otherwise, we can also say that, okay, then we all are brothers to the earth because we all came from the earth. But God decided that these two people, so I like what the Bible says, and the two. He didn't say, and the one shall become one. And the two, giving the expression that there are two different entities that are not going to be put together to become one entity. So it wasn't from the same. And if he believed per what he's saying is of the same, I'll agree with him because we are of the same God's lineage. So God gave them the same lineage. But incest, if he claims that way, he's entitled to it. But I am talking about after the flood. What God had now instituted his life and governing his earth with laws. And the secret book of the Bible, of the Christians, says that God is against it.
We have a call. Hello. Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Please, your name.
My name is Adoatv.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. Let me command the Reverend Pastor for the teaching that he's given us.
Okay.
I'll blame the ladies. The ladies, they are the cause of all these things. But the ladies need to bath with the king all the time, especially from a year to 5 years to 6 years. And you know, the nakedness of a woman, whether it's a kid or it's a grown up, is very attractive to the men. As the pastor, Reverend Pastor has said, it's very attractive. So you have the ladies should know how to cover the girls, the young girls, whether even 3 months. Try to cover. You understand?
Okay.
Cover, because it has happening. An old man, a 3 month baby girl. Then when the lady bath the baby, you say, "Oh, go to your grandpa, go to your grandpa." Can you imagine? 3 months baby girl. Nakedness attract this old man. Then he started using, the old man started using his finger to finger the 3 months. Before they got to know, the old man has fought the girl at the age of 3 months. Can you imagine? So the ladies should be very careful and cover their girl child all the time. They should stop battling with them and expose their nakedness to them. They are the cause. They are the cause. You understand?
Yeah.
So please, we plead the women to cover their girl child all the time.
Okay.
You shouldn't expose their nakedness to everybody.
Okay.
I mean everybody.
Okay. Thanks for calling. So we are wrapping up. Let's look at the stigma. We should wrap up with the stigma.
Let me just say something, then we'll come to that one
Okay.
shortly. I somehow disagree with this caller and the previous one, making women as object of temptation. Most men have problems, all right? And Dr. Asari, who was the head of psychiatry at Asylum Hospital, used to say that we are all mad. The only difference between us and those incarcerated is that our own has not gotten to the higher peak. All right. So there are men that have problem, psychological problem, emotional problem, and when they see, they can even see, excuse my language, there's Sunna Muslims that cover everywhere. You see their eyes. They can see them and they still laugh after them. All right. So it's not about the women covering themselves. It's about the discipline of the men. All right. Seeing a woman and turning yourself and seeing the woman not as a sex object, but as a human being like yourself, and not trying to do anything against the child. Okay. So if you can last after a 3-month-old baby, then you can last after any young. Then you have a problem.
Okay. So we are wrapping up, as I said.
Okay. So coming to the stigma, there are times children born out of incest are being looked down. There are times we laugh at them, we make mockery of them and stuff like that. I want to say that it shouldn't be so, because we don't choose our parents, and none of us chose our parents. And coming out of such act, that does not mean they are not human beings. So I will entreat each and every one of us to see people like that as also God created beings, and we shouldn't stigmatize them, and to also give them the benefit of the doubt to fulfill God's plans and purposes also for their lives. So I will encourage each and every one of us not to look down on them. And if probably you also came out from such a relationship, you are a child out of such relationship, don't be discouraged. Don't think that there is nothing good in you. Don't think that once society is looking down on you, you have nothing to do on this surface of the earth. I believe very well that God also had a reason why you are also on this earth. So live to fulfill your plans and purpose on this earth.
Okay, Reverend, we have 1 minute left.
Stigmatization is not. It's not only in incest, but it's everywhere, where people reject because in their estimation, you are a second class, or you are not good, or there's a disease or sickness that is not supposed to come close to them. My advice would be that, and I know circumstance should anyone stigmatize anyone, because most of the things that happen to us, they happen to us by chance, not because we wanted. There are only few people that, for out of ignorance and out of indiscipline, get things to themselves. But even that one, we are children of light. We are born to love. And our response to such people is to love them and get them close to us. And God will bless us.
Okay, so thank you, viewers, for watching. And also thanks to my team, Blanton, Reggie, Jonah, Uncle Danny, Lizzie, Sasu, and Alfred. Thanks so much. So we come your way same time next week. It's your program, Family Life on Adoatv. And we're advising all ladies out there, Konako check unufo. Why? Thanks to Mabel, Dano, Ochemi, Nyamishano. So we come your way same time, same day next week. Meet me next week also at Domi Kwabenya and Kwakwaye Sexual Purity Summit. And next week, Rebecca who has 70 days here.